Hey folks, Greg here. I hope you're doing well. I just want to do a little bit of a vlog. It's a while since I've done a bit of an update on all of the ponds. I'm outside here now and the sun is actually properly shining and it's reaching here, which is awesome. For the last couple of months, last maybe 2 months, the sun hasn't been able to kind of really poke its head over and get into this area, but it is now, and I'm seeing some great growth here. We've got some nice growth in around the wetlands bog filters and starting to happen in the ponds as well. So it's super exciting. A little bit warmer today as well, about 10.5 degrees me waking up, so that was awesome. So it's been a warm night for the guys, so they're probably all feeling just a little bit hungry. So let's take a look now and see how everybody's getting on. I'm gonna check in on the in-ground pond here first. That's the pond with the single-tailed oranda hybrids, which I bred last year, and these guys have just done awesome over the winter. They've handled all the cold temperatures, absolutely amazing. These guys are awesome. I'll give you a look at those guys and we'll get some food into their bellies too. So these guys are all doing super. They are all up near the top here, which means they're hungry. Now the thing is, the water temperature is not up at 10 degrees, even though the air temperature is. It's still only at about 8 degrees, so they are interested in eating. I don't want to give them nothing. So I'm actually just gonna, a tiny little sprinkle, and I mean crushed up, flaked food. It's mainly carbohydrate based, and that'll just be a little tiny morsel for them to nibble on. Just keep them satisfied and make sure that they have something to keep them going, because as they're moving around they will be using up energy, and that energy that they're using up, well, it has to come from somewhere, and they've got their fat reserves that they've been building up over the winter, or over the summer I should say, and they've been utilizing them over the winter for sure. But when they start moving around like this, it means that they're active, it means that they're happy, and it means that they are looking for something. So something carbohydrate based is a great way just to make sure that the proteins don't rot in their belly. So, but these guys are doing absolutely awesome. There are a couple of particularly kind of big ones from the batch, and there's a lot of smaller ones as well, and there are tons of, we can barely see them, but there's tons of these dark ones. They are Batman's kids, Batman, and well, the big single-tailed female that's in here. She's hiding back here. We'll see if we can take a look at her. She's right down the bottom there. Very hard to see through the shine, but she's down underneath there. She's just amazing. She's absolutely gorgeous, and it is really nice to see everything is super bright. We've got flowers starting to pop up here and everything beside the pond. I'm really excited for this whole area here because that's all planted up now. There's tons of seeds, so I'm hoping to see a lot of wildflowers growing there. You might have noticed the water's down at the moment. I'm just doing like a really slow water change on this, just to trickle some extra clean water back in now that things are starting to move a little bit. Just getting that there. But my goodness, would you look at this? It is just gorgeous. The leaves have literally just stopped falling and they're going to start growing back now pretty soon. So yeah, what a morning. It is just gorgeous out here. Absolutely stunning. And the big difference between these and just the common goldfish is the fact that they're going to start getting much bigger in their bodies. Some of them are already. They're just a bit rounder than your common goldfish. There's the mother actually for a lot of those guys there. She's the white common with the red points, red eyes, tail, fin. She is gorgeous. You can see there's a lot of fish in there that look just like her. Really, really similar. And then there was a male that was really similar to her, mostly white, and I bred him with mom bear. So there's a couple of different parents in here. That's why we've got two kind of very distinctly different types of fish. Got ones with a lot of orange on them, and then we've got white, and we've got the black ones as well. But the mad thing about goldfish is you breed two colours and they can pretty much turn out any colour. They're gas like that. Wetlands bog filter still doing its thing really nicely. I'm really glad to see that this little guy here has bounced back. We've got porgy in here, but this thing is really heavily overgrown. I am definitely going to have to get in here and do some serious weeding. But we have red stem parrot feather here is really bouncing back. That's that fluffy plant in there. And that is a great plant, so I'm really excited to see, because this will be its first real winter in here. The X-wing is proper buried down there, little R2. Oh my goodness, he's still there. He's keeping an eye on the ship. He's a good little droid. But things are starting to bounce back. We've got buds on everything. This is nice to see, and yeah, it's really starting to feel a bit more like springtime here, which is just absolutely awesome. So the in-ground pond has been doing absolutely smashing this winter. This fern hasn't let me down. It's still doing awesome. It's very well, very protected there, and yeah, this has just been an absolutely awesome setup. Now the above ground heated pond has just been doing absolutely smashing all winter as well. It's been doing phenomenally. I have the water level down on this. It stops wind from just going across and wicking the heat out of it, because we have got an open area here. So we have the water drop down a little bit. We've got a 500 watt heater, and then we've got another 300 watt heater there. 300 watt heater is just, that'll be on pretty much all the time. 500 watt heater kicks in when it needs to be heated up, and this is heated to about 16. So yeah, this is doing absolutely odd and pretty murky at the moment. These guys have actually been breeding. They've been breeding constantly over the winter. So it's not like the other pond, because of the fact that this is actually heated. And I'm just eating all these guys a little bit of food here now at the moment. Batman having an little munch. These guys are doing super. There's a couple of guys that just sit on the bottom all the time. They hang around the bottom. They don't really come up top. And then there's a couple of guys that stay up top. They very rarely go down the bottom. And then we have a couple of guys that like to do an L mix. But wetlands bog filter, this has been going super. There's a little wren that goes in there every day, and he picks out all of my isopods and stuff. But it's okay. He doesn't make a dent on them. And generally though, this has just been an awesome setup. This has been working so well for me. There's little Beavis. I just love this little fish. He's super cute. We're up to 16 today. Sometimes the water temperature drops down to about 15. Lowest it's really gotten is 14. And then we'll do our water changes when it gets warmer. So we don't have the overflow system on this like the last setup these guys are in. It doesn't really need it. It would be convenient, so I may look at installing it during the summer. But these guys, when they're breeding like they have been doing, there's like 140 in here. They make a mess. So they've got the water a bit cloudy. The other thing is, this doesn't have any fine particulate filtration on it. That's something that I want to get taken care of this year. I would like to put an inline pressure canister filter that I can fill up with some. Let that do the bulk of the mechanical filtration. And oh my goodness, would you look at this pair? They are just the cutest. Mama Bear and Batman. Just the cutest fish. I love them so much. They're awesome. This guy is just a big beast. Oh yeah. Go on, Batman, you good thing. He's cool. I love him. What an oranda. And of course, they're parents to about half the fish in this pond as well. Mama Bear is mother to nearly all these fish. It's just bonkers. She's just a princess. I absolutely love her. But I would like to inline that hose, get some, get a big pressure canister filter put in, and yeah, that would be awesome. We have our roof up here. We have our lights. We have. Yeah, everything has just been going really well in here. I'm delighted to say. We did have a little bit of an issue a couple of months ago with Fluke. Got into the pond. Sorted now though, like sorted a long time, and these guys are all doing super, you know. Touch wood, there hasn't been any issues, and they're all doing super. So I'm really happy with how this setup has gone. I'll probably put a couple of perimeter posts outside before I fill it all the way back up again, and I'll bury them just to help deal with the outward pressure, because I did notice there's quite a bit of a flex in it. So because it's an all wood construction, so we can get that locked in a little bit tighter, so we can get her nicely filled up during the summer when things warm up again. But yeah, I mean, one pump, well, we've got two pumps. That yellow one doesn't do a whole lot until I'm doing water changes, but we have one pump pumping up into the wetlands bog filter. I'll give you a quick look at this. This thing has just been doing amazing. And of course, we've still got our avocado on the go. All of these reeds are doing super. This is what they look like when they start coming up, and they're shooting up absolutely everywhere. You might see little critters running around in here. I think they spotted me coming over. They're hiding away. But anyway, this is full. I'll get some shots of all the isopods. Actually, if the wren was here not too long ago, they won't be happy about that, and they'll be hiding away. Oh, we've got some red stem parrot feathers starting to shoot back up again. That is cool, because he's just getting a kiss of sunlight in the mornings. And I do have iris in there. There doesn't appear to be too many, but I'll get some planted up because they're awesome. We have some roots down there. Oh, isopod. They're starting to pop out there now again. And there's worms and snails and stuff in there, and that's what the little wren is going in and looking for. But he's doing absolutely no harm, because I mean, look, there's so many of them there. It's literally full of them. It's thousands of them. so he'll have no impact. And now we just get a bit of a water change going for these guys, make sure everything is nice and clean for them after doing all that breeding. So we can see we've got the yellow garden hose, which is the same diameter as obviously the garden hose coming in. So I have a pump coming off that's pumping water out. We've got the water coming in, so we match the rates and we have a continuous water change going through the system. Helps clean things out nice and just really nicely and gently, because the other thing I don't want to do is just waste the heat that we've got in here now. Temperatures are up, but I'm still paying to heat this water, so rather than pumping water out and then pumping water in, doing a continuous water change over a longer period of time allows the water that's already being heated up to transfer some of its heat to that new water coming in, and helps just save a little bit of that energy and, well, a little bit of money as well, Batman, because it's not cheap heating you guys up over the old winter, is it? Well, actually, it's not too bad. It's about the same price as a cup of coffee a day, which I think is very reasonable to be able to keep these guys. The only addition to the pond has been this guy here, the big giant ranchu. He hasn't got a name. He is massive. The depth of his body is colossal. He is a beast. He is actually a beast. That's why he wasn't in with the with any of my fancy goldfish before. When he was quite small, he killed off a couple of my female pearl scales just by breeding with them. So he's got that kind of mousy head, really deep, powerful body. He was in with the koi and goldfish. He used to chase around female koi and big goldfish. So yeah, I'll be keeping a close eye on him. He had a little bit of trouble in the really cold weather. He ate some of the sturgeon's food, so he had to be taken out, warmed up, and unfortunately it was far too cold at the time. I couldn't have risked putting him back into the cold pond, so he's doing quite well in here, and he hasn't been bothering anybody. That's okay, as long as he's being a good boy. We're all good. So yeah, he doesn't seem to be bothering anybody, so that's awesome. Even with the bit of breeding that's been going on here, I haven't seen him hassling, so it's all good news. So he is an amazing fish. I absolutely love him. He's huge. He's the same age as Batman and Mama Bear, and my goodness, when he seen them, he was so excited. It was amazing. He's been like Batman's little shadow for the last little while as well, which is super cute. But yeah, he's doing awesome. But he's the only fish that got brought in from outside. Beyond, now there were a couple of these little guys here, little small single tail oranda. These were the only ones that didn't do super in the in-ground pond, so I brought them in during the cold weather, put them into tanks, and then after a treatment I put them in here. So but they're doing awesome in here as well, much better than the cold. Most of the single tail oranda did just amazing over winter so far, but a couple of them they just weren't as well suited for it, so they're in here for that little bit of TLC. Super cute. He's like a baby single-tailed Batman, just like his dad there. He's got the exact same coloration, the silver flecks from the side, looks blue in the sunlight. So I'm super excited about this little fish, and a bunch of fish that I have that are just like him as well. Yeah, this is awesome. So the sun doesn't usually hasn't been able to peek its head over there for weeks now. See, here we got the sun coming across in all these trees, and almost hitting the pond here now at the moment. It's pretty close, but the good thing about it is the Elodea densa is starting to grow back big time down there, and what I'll be doing is I'll be transferring a bunch of that into the other pond, get that growing on in there as well, because if the females are breeding, I'm going to want somewhere for them to hide out, because that's really important. Females need somewhere to hide while they're breeding, because the males are just going to keep on plowing into their side and causing them trouble. They can really do a lot of damage to them, but if the females have somewhere to hide, they're going to be absolutely fine. So I'll transfer a bit of that in there. There is some in there already, but it has been super slow growing for it over winter, and when it's grown slowly, it's not as fibrous, and it's much easier for the goldfish to eat, so they've been just munching on it. I'll show you what that like devoured Elodea densa looks like. Actually, it's starting to bounce back because it's just getting that little bit of extra light here now, but my goodness, they've given it a hard time over the winter, but they're really enjoying it. It's a great food for your goldfish. So you can see that should all be leaves, and it's definitely not leaves, but there are a couple of bits starting to bounce back, which is awesome. Like all these little bits here, that's a little bit of new growth, and literally as long as it's green, Elodea densa will bounce back. But they've just been munching on that. They're nibbling that like crazy. They also eat a bit of duckweed as well, which is super cool, and a great little food source for them. And I grow that in my axolotl setup. But yeah, the Elodea densa that's floating in here now at the moment, not a whole lot of it left, so I'll start getting replaced on that now. I'll just need to take the LED adensa out of the other pond and give it a good clean. Hey buddy! These guys over here at the koi pond, they're doing pretty good as well. It's super chilled out. These guys are starting to get a little bit more active with the extra little bit of temperature that we've got, but generally it's been super quiet over here. Need to fix that. I can see it's after dropping a little bit there, so we'll do that now. I'll get some more staples in that, but this heavy duty system is basically just to make sure that the heron doesn't take any of our fish over the course of the winter, because they're pretty tenacious around here. They will devour any of the fish that they can get their beak on, and we did lose a couple in the past. So ideal scenario is build a nice big pergola. Just didn't get round to it this last year with everything that was going on. Oh, there's some movement, and we got a couple of big goldfish in here, well over a foot long. Couple of koi, and we got the sturgeon as well. Now the water is down to a trickle now at the moment in the wetlands bog filter, which is extremely overgrown at the moment, and you can see the water is just trickling down the back here. We still have a little duckweed pond there. That's grand. That just, everything is just working nicely still. We have this reed plant is after taking over completely. The iris is still blooming here. I can see one of them is starting to bloom here now at the moment. This is a really nice iris, and I actually harvested a load of these seeds yesterday from the seed pods. I have a bunch of those put away. I'll probably start planting soon enough with those, get them in the ground. And if we go over the pond, which we can do by walking across these, because this is a pretty heavy duty construction, I'm not gonna lie to you. Goodness, this would be the one time that I go through it. And we can see a load of the plants in the wetlands bog filter are starting to bounce back. This had pretty much died back into just kind of a root ball, but loads of leaves starting to pop up here, and we can see, oh lovely, I can actually see flowers are starting to form already, because this one flowers very early in the year, so great for those early pollinators. And we can see a lot of the mint here. Now I did pull a little bit of this up, we can see it's drying. I might just pop it back in. I don't actually want that mint grown all the way down there and taken over. See, there's grass and everything in here. I'll get all that out. Don't want to do too much disturbing at the moment. Definitely want to get rid of all the ivy and all this old mint here. I'll cut that all back and make space for the new stuff to grow, because what I want to do is I'll turn that back around on itself and point it back in that direction. And the whole first section of the wetlands bog filter tends to, I like to have that full of mint, because that creates this really tight root ball, and that is a super fine particle filter. So I'll get this all chopped back. We'll do that later perhaps. And yeah, we've still got loads of reeds grown here, and there are tons of little small ones starting to poke their way up all the way down through the end of the wetlands bog filter. That's Brew's little watering hole. This is the River Brew. My dog loves this spot, and trickling its way back into the pond here now. So these guys are doing awesome. If the temperature does come up a little bit, I would be inclined to turn the other pump back on, because as the temperature increases, the amount of dissolved oxygen will decrease, and we do have a sturgeon in there, so we want to make sure that he has all the oxygen he needs as well. But the thing about it is, it's kind of like having a bit of a wind chill effect when you have the water powering through here. It can reduce down their body temperature even more so than the cold temperature of the water itself. But also just the fact that they're going to have to put in more energy into swimming, which is not good, because they're trying to preserve energy in there using their fat reserves that they built up over the course of the summer. But you know, we don't want that scenario. We want to make life as easy as possible for them. And my goodness, that is some bright sunshine today. It's gorgeous. I'm not gonna lie, I'm thoroughly enjoying it, but my goodness, I can't see a thing. So I'm gonna let these guys just have their little bit of a snacko. I'll get fixing on this net here as well, just make sure that's okay, and get that up. And we'll leave these guys to it. Water's a bit murky, and that's okay, because it's just that we don't have any fine particle filtration in the wetlands bog filter at the moment. Not the end of the world. And the other thing is, with it just being a little bit murky, it's not dirty water. Like the chemical composition is still fine. We don't have any ammonia and nitrites or nitrates, because there are still plants in there absorbing stuff, and we still do have some good bacteria in this massive wetlands bog filter. But it's a little bit cloudy, and that's okay, because it does again make it more difficult for the heron to see, because the heron will try to get through that net if they see them, and we've had tons of trouble with the heron. So I don't mind that. Some people put dyes in their ponds and stuff like that. That's just fine particulate matter, that's not causing any issues. So we'll leave that be for now. We'll run slow water changes on this system as the weather is nice, and you know what it is today. So I'll see. It takes a long time to do the water changes on the other systems. If the water's still up tomorrow, up in temperature, I might run it on this one as well. and do a little bit of a water change, because it's always good just to make sure things are nice and clean. But for now, this thing is just still kind of, it's doing its thing. It's just trucking along, and these guys are all doing great. That's awesome. No issues in this pond, and touch wood again, it stays that way for the rest of the winter. I do work from home, and this is my latest little buddy Chrissy. Oh, and this is the 3D printed birdhouse that I made for Chrissy. Taking advantage of it. But seems to prefer to be fed just here on this post, which is right outside my office window, which is nice. Really nice to have a little buddy around. Don't know where she's gone. Well, it's a couple of hours later now. Long, slow water change this, and seems to be doing the trick. Things are getting nice and clear here now. Maybe another little bit tomorrow. Let's see how it goes. These guys have just all had some snackos though, so they're doing good. How are you, Hank? What's the story, buddy? Looking good? Looking good? Batman's after hearing me. He's like, yeah, I'll have some food. Sorry, buddy, you literally just got fed. We might get him another little bit. We'll see. Gee, Mac, they're all over. They're all still hungry. Yeah, so basically, we're just about done. This heater over here is my kind of level indicator. So I have that just about where I want it. That's the one that's on all the time at the moment. Temperature did drop down a little bit. We got down to about 14 degrees when we were doing the water change. Not too bad, not too bad. That's absolutely fine. I'll be back up again now pretty shortly. But yeah, Mama Bear, Batman, all the rest of these guys, all doing super. And I do like to keep the water clear when I can, because obviously it looks nice, but even more so is because I want to be able to see if there's an issue. If the water's murky, and this water is still deep, this is still a few feet deep, we're up at about maybe 4,000-ish litres. We've got guys swimming in and out of current to the cold water coming in. Over there, lunatics. And then we've got other ones hanging around the heaters, which is always hilarious. I love that a couple of the single-tailed goldfish do try to be pushing themselves against the heaters, just getting that bit of hot water. They love it. Absolutely seeking that hot water. And then others absolutely seeking the cool water. It's hilarious. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, you just want to be able to see what's going on, because a couple of feet deep. Probably got about 4,000-ish litres in here, maybe a little bit more at the moment. Does fill up to about 5.5. And, you know, I just want to make sure that I can see everything that's going on. So if there is an issue, I can spot it straight away and make sure it's all sorted. Batman beside one of his kids that is, you know, there's no doubting who his kids are sometimes. Absolutely hilarious. A couple of them are just like mirror images of him, which is super exciting. Really excited about some of his kids. They're going to be great fish. Batman, Mama Bear, the big Ryukin, Hank, B, and a couple of the Ranchu that we've got in here. They're all guys that I got originally a couple of years back, maybe 3-4 years ago. Some of those guys, and the rest of them are all younger than that. The other pond, it's in darkness now at the moment. Yeah, I'm letting these guys chill out. We got this filled back up. Not too much point in spending too much time around here. See a couple of the fish floating up near the surface, but the rest of them pretty much down at the bottom of this pond at the moment. Because that's ultimately where you're going to feel most comfortable in the evenings. It's yeah, everything is going grand here at the pond. It's been a pretty mild winter, thankfully. Hopefully it stays that way, because we've got a couple of months left to go. You know, in Ireland, I've seen snow in May here, so generally we have a pretty mild winter, but it can get bad. So fingers crossed it stays as mild as it is for the next couple of months, and we'll be laughing. I'm going to be doing a bunch more videos over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to start utilising YouTube a little bit more. I've been focusing a bit on TikTok, and TikTok's not really playing nice at the moment. Doing some funny stuff with its algorithm. Like I said there, I don't want to dance with Al Gore, so I feel like I'm making content there, and it's just not being seen by anybody. So I'm going to start posting more regularly here on YouTube, and I'm going to be doing more in-depth videos about fish keeping and different aspects of it, because what I have been working on in the background is a book on keeping goldfish, and a beginner's guide. So not a super technical book, just when you are starting fish keeping, when you are looking to keep goldfish, and all the nightmares that you have to deal with. Basically, it's to help you out, and it's a consolidated version of what I wish I had when I started fish keeping, because I was into goldfish in the early days of my fish keeping when I was a kid, and I couldn't get the information. And then I travelled all over the country. It was a nightmare for me. I was pre-internet baby, so getting information was a nightmare. But now there's so much information, and sometimes when you're setting up an aquarium, You don't need to know everything about everything. What you need is a guide to get you through that initial startup phase, and then get you kind of looking after your fish well. And then I've also started working on a much more in-depth version, which is going to be much more technical, really getting into things, putting basically meat on the bones. But I do want to do something there for people, because they're the questions that I get asked all the time on all my social media platforms, and I've covered a bunch of different aspects of it on some of the stuff here on YouTube, some of the stuff on my website, and some of the stuff in social media posts and on my blog. But I want to do a consolidated version that somebody can just download onto their Kindle, and an audiobook version of it as well. I'll record that and get that set up once it's done. But still working on that, finishing off the editing because I have the first draft done. So I'm editing that. I'm on my second edit of it, because I decided to change it the way it was kind of structured a little bit, and then I'm gonna be dumping in pictures then as well. So that's something I'll be doing, because I wanted to have some nice pictures as well, you know, and share with you some of the pictures that I've taken of all my fish and things like that as well, for showing different breeds and different things. So yeah, that's going to be something I'm going to be working on over the coming weeks. I'll be finishing that off, which I'm super excited about. And then once that's done, I get stuck straight into the much more in-depth version, because that's already like way up there on the page count. I got a lot done on that. I was actually doing that one first, and I decided, actually, you know what? I think there's real value for people starting off just with a consolidated. This is how you get your goldfish set up, because I tell people how to set up goldfish aquariums all the time. But that's it, guys. Gonna wrap it up there now. Myself and these guys are I'm gonna let these guys finish up their old snackos here this evening. And I've got my big Ranchu, my Joy of Aquascaping jumper on here now at the moment, because sure, you need to be wearing the old jumpers, because it's not that warm. It's not freezing here at the moment. Still, a fella does get a bit of a chill when he's playing with the water, and it's one thing I've been really mindful of the last couple of weeks and it's why I have the lights turned off down at the other pond. I'm staying away from it once it gets dark, because it has been so cold. It's really slippy down there when the weather's bad, and it's been icy and stuff like that. Ponds are super dangerous in the winter and could be messing around. So at least this setup here, it's way more scary. I have been in here, but there was no fishing at the time. It was when I filled it up just after building. My goodness, it was cold, and I do not want to be back in here again. But I gotta wrap up this water change, just about done, and I'll make sure everybody's all right then, and I'll put these to bed for the evening. But that's it, guys. I just want to say thanks very much for watching. If you watch through to this, for our fair play to you, I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, consider hitting that one. And yeah, I go live frequently on TikTok, and I post on Instagram as well, and obviously my website's there with the blog and my audiobooks. I've got not audiobooks, podcasts. I got podcasts, and they're linked on my website as well, on my link tree here. And yeah, a couple of basic ones, going kind of deep dives into different aspects, like keeping the ponds over winter, feeding fish, stuff like that. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up there. Thanks very much for watching. Talk to you next one. Take care. Bye.